Welcome to the Disrupting Obesity podcast. I'm Charlotte Skanes, and I'll be sharing ways to regain control over your body and lose an extreme amount of weight naturally. Being fat is about so much more than just the food. It's about your relationship with food. That means that dealing with your weight is about more than just the food, too. You have to change that relationship. You have to start disrupting obesity. I've been all about the experiments lately, so we're trying something new again this week. I wanted to do something fun for episode 101. I thought about doing 101 things about me and the podcast, but I got bored with that super quick, like before I got to number 20. And I figured you guys would too. I'm just not that interesting. While I was playing with ways to salvage that idea, I thought maybe I could balance it out by doing 101 things that I know are true about weight loss. That wasn't boring for me. And I sat down and I just banged out a list. There's no real order to it. Some of the thoughts are connected and some of them are totally random. What we're going to do is we're going to start at the top and we're just going to work our way through. Now, just reading the list would take up pretty much a full episode, and it doesn't sound like a ton of fun to, just read a list. So I'm going to start at the top. I'm going to see what hits me. And then I'm going to make the list available for free on my website so that you can have a copy too. Not all the talking part, just like the 101 things. And I'm pretty sure that this is going to take us a few episodes, which means that we might as well just go. Oh, and I'm not going to say all the numbers either, because I feel like that would just get annoying maybe. So I will occasionally say the number, I think. And yeah, we'll just do it like that. So the first thing on our list is that weight loss is hard. No matter how little or how much weight you have to lose, it is not a fun process. And yeah, there's a reason that I probably wrote that one down first. Right up until the whole almost dying thing, losing weight was the hardest thing I'd ever done. And there were some things. There was the car accident that I did spinal injections for 3.5 years afterwards so I could get through the physio. Like, there were some things that had happened that we had dealt with, that I had dealt with, but nothing was harder than losing 200 pounds. Nothing. That took all the prizes. And like I said, right up until the almost dying thing, it was the hardest thing I had ever done. And there just isn't an easy way to do it. There are ways that are easier. I think there are straighter ways, like they say the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. And I think with weight loss, we tend to do a lot of crooked lines. There's a lot of zigzagging. There's a lot of trying this out, and then that doesn't work, so I'm going to go try that out. And then I'm just, going to give up carbs, and then I'm going to try the shakes, and I'm going to try this, and I'm going to work out like crazy. So there's a lot of up and down, a lot of zigs and zags. There is a straightforward way to get there, but it's not a lot of fun. But weight loss isn't fun, in large part because it is so hard. It's not what we want to be doing. We want to keep doing what we're doing, but at the same time, we want to lose the weight. But we know that we can't keep doing what we're doing if we want to lose the weight. So you get caught in between those two things trying to find your way through. I'm like everybody else. I desperately wish that there was an easy way to do this. I think my job, what I want to do is try and make it as easy for people as I can, while at the same time acknowledging there is no easy way to do this. There are just ways to make it easier. That's it. Next up is that sustainable weight loss takes time. So one of the hardest parts is dealing with how long it's going to take. That's one of the hardest things to get your head around. I had to stare down over 2.5 years, and we all just want to snap our fingers and have it over and done with, but it doesn't work that way. Like we just said, this is extremely hard. There's no easy way to do it, and all of the ways to do it take time. I think it's pretty condescending, but it's also pretty true when people are like, well, you didn't gain it all overnight, so you're not going to lose it all overnight. And it really hurts to hear that, but it's still a true thing. As much as it sucks, and it really does suck, you didn't gain it all in a couple of days or a couple of weeks or a couple of months. So it's going to take time to get it off. And reconciling yourself to how long that's going to take is very, very difficult. It's one of the hardest mindset pieces to manage when it comes to extreme weight loss. This one is something that I probably don't talk about enough, and I think I should maybe start talking more about it. But losing a lot of weight is different, and we need to stop acting like weight loss is just a rinse and repeat thing. Well, if you need to lose 100 pounds, all you need to do is whatever you need to do to lose 10 pounds and just do it 10 times longer or harder or however the hell that's supposed to work. It doesn't work that way. Maybe it would be all right if it did, but it doesn't. You can't just rinse, repeat your weight loss. It's not. Losing 100 pounds isn't losing 10 pounds 10 times. I mean, yes, mathematically it is, but mentally, no, it's not. Almost everywhere you turn when it comes to losing a significant amount of weight, there are differences between that and losing a smaller amount of weight. And it's not that it's an insignificant amount. Any amount of weight you have to lose is significant to you. But if your halfway point is 10 pounds and my halfway point is 150 pounds, we're going to have very, very different journeys. If you can lose all of your weight in a few months and it's going to take me a few years, we have very, very different journeys. And it's little things like when you have a lot of weight to lose, people are less likely to notice that you're losing weight until you're further into the process, which can be discouraging. People's attitudes and the way they treat you when you have a lot of weight to lose change. I mean, there's the whole you've been treated differently the entire time you've been fat part. That's a difference between losing a lot of weight and losing a smaller amount of weight. But there's also the way people are going to react to your journey and how long it's taking and what the process looks like for you. It's very, very different when you've got 100 pounds versus 10 or versus 15. It's almost like people lose their compassion after a certain number. And I don't know what that number is, but I do feel like that there's definitely a difference. How you feel is different. How you're treated is different. The amount of time it takes is different. The type of mindset that you need to be in is different. There are so many things that have to be approached in a different way when you're trying to lose a larger amount of weight. And I think it is really unfair that we don't acknowledge that difference and we're not addressing that difference. Before I started all this and I was looking around at kind of the weight loss landscape, there was absolutely nothing that would have helped me when I was over 300 pounds. The messaging that I was getting was basically, unless you want to have weight loss surgery, we're not here for you. And I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's right. The amount of pressure that's put on someone who has a significant amount of weight to lose is very different from the type of pressure that's put onto someone with a smaller amount. I think it is really important and it is well past time that we start really acknowledging and addressing how different these two journeys are. It's kind of like apples and oranges, right? They're both fruit, but they're not the same thing. Number 4 is probably my favorite thing to say because it gets me into a ton of trouble. You can lose weight eating whatever you want so long as you're in a calorie deficit. Bacon and bubblegum, flamingos, it's the deficit, it's not the food. And I keep saying it, and everybody keeps getting mad, and that's just fine because it's not like I invented this. It's not like it's my opinion. This is a science thing. It's not about me, and it's not about Gladys either. It just is what it is. You can lose weight eating whatever you want so long as you're in a calorie deficit. Are there foods that are going to make that easier for you? You betcha. But they're going to be different from person to person. There is no universal food for weight loss. Doesn't exist. Here's another fun one for you. Calories can't tell time. People don't really like that one either. But it's also true. It doesn't matter when you eat so long as you're in a deficit. It really doesn't. I mean, we all know people who work shift work. They're doing just fine. Calories can't tell time. And that brings us nicely to number 6. And you can see why my brain was on this one. But it's just that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Yeah, that's just an advertising slogan. It's a super successful one. It might be the most successful one of all time, but that's all it is. It's just a slogan to sell cereal. That's it. Calories cannot tell time. They just can't. They don't know whether you're eating at 6 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock at night. This is just about the deficit and all that hysteria that we went through for decades, where if you don't eat breakfast, you're gonna instantly start storing your food as fat and you're just gonna get bigger. And if you eat after 7 o'clock at night, you'll instantly store that food as fat and you're gonna get bigger and heavier and fatter. And oh God, don't eat after 8:45 p.m. because what about daylight savings time? What about time zone? What about all that stuff? I mean, this is just horse shit, right? Calories can't tell time. And when it comes to breakfast, if you want it, eat it. If you don't, don't. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Number 7 is kind of a 2-in-1, but that's okay. Weighing yourself every day will make you crazy when you're losing weight, but it can help you stay on track when you're maintaining your weight. And I know those things sound like they contradict each other, probably because they do, but that doesn't make it any less true. Getting on the scale too often when you're losing weight is going to make you nuts. It is. Well, I had to give my scale away. I had to get my scale out of my house because I just could not stay off it. And I mean, just as an experiment, get on your scale in the morning and then get on the scale 2 hours later. Did you actually gain or lose that weight in the span of 2 hours? No. These are just fluctuations and it's totally normal. So you just want to do it one day a week because you want to make sure that you're weighing yourself often enough to know what's going on so that you have that level of control over what's happening. But you don't want to be weighing yourself so crazy that you're derailing yourself because that's what can happen. The scale can turn into a form of self-sabotage. You know what happens when you get on that scale and you see a number you didn't want to see. You know you're going to get triggered. You know that this might kick off a food binge and it might ruin the rest of your week. So I got to ask you, why are you getting on the scale so often if you know that's what's going to happen? Well, the answer is you're getting on the scale that often because you do know what's going to happen. You know that it's going to be like writing yourself a permission slip to go and eat. So maybe let's not do that. Let's stick to one day a week. And the day of the week that I like is Wednesday. Weigh yourself on Wednesdays. And I'm pretty sure this is going to come up as another number later on, but I'm going to say it now and we'll just, I don't know, figure it out. But pick Wednesday. The reason I like weigh in Wednesday isn't just for the alliteration, although you guys know I'm always a fan of alliteration. The reason is that you're giving your body a chance to clear out the salt. So that's the very concrete reason. Most of us tend to indulge on the weekends. We tend to have food with more salt in it, which means that our body holds on to water, which is the only way to clear the excess sodium. So we end up with a higher number on the scale. Okay, cool. That's the very concrete reason. The very abstract reason is the mindset one. Monday is too loaded. When I lost weight the first time, my weigh-in day was Sunday. I just cut Monday out of the equation. Now, that was because, again, I had to give my scale away and I took it to my mother-in-law's house because we went there every Sunday night for dinner. So I thought, okay, well, I'll just go there and weigh myself every Sunday and I'll have one day a week and it'll be fine. So that's why I did that. The reason I'm encouraging you to pick Wednesday, again, we have the super concrete salt reason, and then we have the crazy abstract mindset reason with Mondays. Monday is loaded. We're all going to start on Monday. We weigh ourselves on Monday morning. There's all this emotional baggage that comes with that day of the week. And I just want to push it all to the side because that's not what we actually want to do here. I'm not interested in your relationship with the scale. I'm interested in your relationship with food. So let's move the scale part over to Wednesdays so we're not dealing with any of the other stuff that comes along with Monday. When you're maintaining, the reason I encourage you to weigh yourself more often is because you need more of that control. You're at the weight that you want to be at and you want to stay there. It can be very encouraging to see that number when you're starting your day. So there's that. It keeps you in the right headspace to want to continue to make those positive choices that you know you have to make if you're going to maintain your weight and not gain it back and go back like the 85% who do. But this way you're going to know when you're starting to slide. If I'm getting on the scale and I notice 2 or 3 days in a row that I'm a couple pounds up, I kind of go, If it's a couple more days than that, then I know I've got to rein it in. I've got to take a look at what I'm doing. Maybe I need to do like a sample days tracking to see, okay, where am I going off the rails here? What's actually going on? It just lets you stay on top of things. But maintenance mode is one of those things that I feel like nobody is talking about at all. Everybody's so focused on the ride that nobody's talking about what to do once you get there. And it makes sense, right? I mean, it's one hell of a trip. Weight loss is very hard. It takes a very long time. The journey is kind of a thing. But the destination is the key with this one. This one, yeah, the journey is the weight loss, but it's all about getting to the destination. And then what do you do once you get there? How do you make sure you stay there? There's an 85% recidivism rate. How do you make sure that you're not part of the 85%? These are things that we need to start talking about a whole lot more. And I'm not sure why nobody is, but I'm certainly going to. When it comes to weight loss, there are no good or bad foods. There are just foods that help you or don't. And I really mean the you there because it is totally relative. One person's fixation food that keeps them on track is somebody else's trigger that throws everything off the rails. There are no good or bad foods. And the example that I've started using with this one even though it freaks people out, and maybe that's why I'm doing it, is because it freaks people out a little bit, and it just jolts them enough to, it's like the bacon and bubblegum thing. That's such an unusual thing to say. It maybe shifts people's perspective a little bit. But the next time you're thinking about good foods or bad foods, or good choices or bad choices, I want you to think about bugs. Yeah, I know. I said this one was a bit, yeah, it's definitely out of left field, but that's okay. Think about bugs. I come from a culture where we don't eat bugs. Eating bugs is considered a quote unquote bad thing to do. But tell that to the 2 billion people living on our planet who use bugs as a terrific source of protein every single day. There's nothing wrong with eating bugs. Bugs are a very good food, but we have been conditioned to believe that they're a bad food. So it's just something to think about when you're caught in that good food, bad food argument, because good and bad when it comes to food are value judgments that we're putting on it. Just ask a vegan. And I'm not being a dick, but it applies to everything. And vegans are the perfect example. Their belief system dictates what they eat, just like billions of people all around the world for all different kinds of belief systems. There are just foods, and the rest of it is what we're projecting onto it. Small incremental changes work. Big sweeping ones don't. They just don't. We all wish they would. We have been sold so much willpower bullshit for so long that we believe that we need to just be strong enough to cut out carbs for the rest of our lives or give up sugar. No. This isn't about getting a garbage bag and throwing out all the food in your house. It's not about cutting out whole food groups or only eating one food group or getting rid of all the stuff that makes you feel indulgent, never having anything sweet or never. It's not about eliminating the temptations. It's not about willpower. It's about having systems in place and learning to trust yourself because you know your relationship with food has changed. It doesn't take willpower to lose a boatload of weight. It takes commitment to a series of small changes. And you want those changes to be two things. You want them to be small and incremental. And sometimes people accuse me of being redundant with this, but I can assure you that I'm not. You want to make small changes incrementally. So you want to be using, instead of taking 13 cookies, you take 12. And then the next time you take 11. That is a small change, and we're making it incrementally. We're not doing it all at once. We're going to take our time to roll those changes out. It gives your body a chance to get used to having less food or having a sandwich with less mayonnaise or whatever that small incremental change that you've made is. We're giving your body a chance to catch up with it. We also want to give you mentally a chance to catch up with it, to settle into the fact that you are having slightly less. But when you're making those changes in a small and incremental way, you're less likely to notice them and you're less likely to get knocked flat on your ass by them. You're going to notice if you cut out an entire food group. You can't just make a change like that and expect to just keep merrily going along with your life and with your day. It's not going to happen. You're going to have physical consequences and you're going to have mental and emotional consequences to stripping something that you love completely out of your life. So let's not do that. Plus, it doesn't feel very manageable. It feels like this just massive big thing. And maybe it seems like, well, if I just take this giant leap and get it over with, everything will be fine. And that works with some things, but I really don't think it works with weight loss. Number 14, if you want to keep the weight off, do the relationship with food work. And I know that one's a lot easier said than done. I know that it takes a long time to do it because that's what I teach people how to do. So I deeply understand that it is very, very difficult to change your relationship with food. I understand that it's a whole heck of a lot easier to just focus on the food and what you have to eat to get the weight off and not even think about the emotional component, not even dig into why you're making those choices or what your food map looks like or why you're using food to comfort, reward, and cope. But if you don't get to the bottom of those things, if you don't get a handle on your deeper relationship with food, you are running a very real risk of joining the 85%. You have to do the relationship with food work if you want to keep it off. Emotional hunger is real. Physical hunger isn't the only reason we eat, and telling people to only eat when their hunger is real doesn't work, because anybody who's dealing with obesity knows that emotional hunger is a super real thing that actually exists, and trying to deny it doesn't make it go away. It only makes it worse. Your emotional hunger is a real thing. If you just feel like eating sometimes and you don't know why, you just finished a big meal, but you still feel like eating something, that's real. I'm not saying it's the same thing as physical hunger. I'm just saying it's a real thing. And learning to differentiate between physical and emotional hunger is a very important step to getting a handle on your relationship with food. I could probably have divided number 16 up too, but carbs don't make you fat. Fat doesn't even make you fat. A consistent calorie surplus is what makes you fat. So we all have a TDEE, total daily energy expenditure. That's the number of calories that your body burns every day. And I don't mean it burns it from exercise. I mean it burns it from existing, because it takes calories to do things like grow your fingernails and digest your food and breathe and pump blood through your body. All of those things require calories. And they've got fancy little acronyms for all of them. Like there's your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, and there's your TEF, the thermic effect of food. That's how many calories it takes to digest your food. And all the carbs have different percentages that they run. But we've all got one. We've all got a TDEE, the number of calories our body needs every day just to exist. That number is your maintenance TDEE. When I was 338 pounds, my maintenance TDEE was 3,500 calories. I was still gaining weight. So I was eating in a calorie surplus. I was eating more calories than my total daily energy expenditure. And I figure I was probably eating around 4,200 calories a day. When you consistently eat less than your maintenance TDEE, you're eating in a calorie deficit. When you're eating consistently more than your TDEE, you're eating in a calorie surplus. So I was eating in a surplus. I was still gaining weight right up until the moment that I started losing weight. And to lose weight, I had to start eating less than my TDEE. We use the number 500 calories a day because a pound of fat is 3,500 calories. Divide that by 7, you get 500 calories a day. You drop those 500 calories a day. Theoretically, you're going to lose a pound a week. So you've got your maintenance TDEE, and then you can eat in a deficit or you can eat in a surplus. Eating at maintenance means you maintain your weight. Eating in a surplus means you gain. Eating in a deficit means that you lose. I don't want the third macro to feel left out. So number 17 is protein isn't the be all and the end all of weight loss. Does it help? Yes. Is it a magic weight loss bullet? No. Not at all. And I know that every other Instagram account and every other Facebook thing and everything that you're seeing right now and have been seeing for probably over a year has all been about ramming protein down your throat. How much protein are you getting? How much protein do you need? Are you eating a gram of protein for every pound that you weigh? All of that stuff. Nope. It's just a no. Like everything else, protein is a super helpful tool. You need protein in your diet. It's essential. But it's not a magic solution to weight loss. Eating a whole bunch of protein isn't going to guarantee that you lose weight. And like we were just saying about calories, if you're eating, you could be eating 100% protein. You can't, but you could be eating 100% protein, just for argument's sake. But if you're eating in a calorie surplus, you're going to gain weight. If you're eating 100% of your calories from protein and you're in a deficit, you're going to lose weight. But the same holds true of the other two macros. If you're eating 100% of your calories as carbohydrates and you're in a surplus, you're going to gain. If your diet is entirely carbohydrates, but you're in a deficit, you'll lose. Even fat at 9 calories a gram. Even then, if all of your calories are coming from fat and you're in a surplus, guess what happens? But if you're in a deficit and you're eating exclusively fat, you're still going to lose weight. That's just how this works. So please, please, please stop stressing out about your protein. You don't have to go crazy trying to get it all in. You don't need to be adding protein powder to everything and putting cottage cheese into everything. You just don't. Focus on the calories. Learning to balance your protein with other stuff is good to help you manage your hunger because of the way that protein impacts your satiety and how satisfied you feel overall. But don't make yourself crazy trying to hit some random number that you heard an influencer talking about. I wish this one was higher up on the list, but like I said at the beginning, I literally just sat down and just started gunning them out. What do I know about weight loss? Here we go. Bang, 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 bang. Number 18, Fiber, and I know this is true, fiber is the unsung hero of weight loss. Nobody's talking about fiber. Nobody seems to be focusing on fiber, and it is so helpful on this journey. You've got your two kinds of fiber, your insolubles and your soluble fiber. Make this super short. The insoluble fiber doesn't break down, right? So it forms like a weft. And then you've got the soluble fiber that does break down, and it comes in and it kind of settles in that, and it makes almost like a mat, I guess. Anyway, it slows down digestion. It helps clean things out. We all know about our grandmothers and roughage, right? Yeah, you need it. It literally does push stuff through. You want that. Fiber helps you feel full longer. Fiber helps with digestion. Fiber helps with gut health. Fiber is just an incredible thing to add to your diet. Another good thing about fiber is if you're eating high fiber foods, a lot of them do tend to be lower in calories. So it can help you to make better choices if you're focusing on fiber. But again, this is not something to make yourself crazy with. This isn't like a protein thing. I don't have a number of grams and I'm, oh God, I don't know, for every 6 kilos you weigh, eat 1.35 grams of fiber. I mean, like we could just invent something, right? And of course, there are dietary recommendations based on age, gender, etc., for how much fiber you want to be taking in. And you should definitely get that information. Just don't drive yourself crazy trying to hit it. And I think for a lot of us, when we're coming into this with diets where we're not used to a ton of fiber, where we're eating more processed foods, you can increase them slowly so that you're not like all of a sudden just hitting your system with all this fiber. But it's a tool you can use. It's something you can gradually add to your diet, and it's going to help you to make better choices. It's going to help you bring that calorie count down. It's going to help you feel full. There are so many benefits. Fiber. Go for fiber. Definitely the unsung hero of weight loss. All right, so I'm pulling out my hypocrite card here because I am 100% guilty of this one, and I'm going to come clean about it. We're going to talk about it. I was wrong, and I am so glad I changed my mind. Water is still water if you add flavor drops to it. And I know that's not the most popular opinion out there. And I was one of the people who was like, no, if you're drinking your water, it should be water. I was full of shit. What difference does it make if you add a few little drops of a 0-calorie thing? And I know it's the aspartame. I know it's the sweeteners, Gladys. I know that's what everybody's all worked up about. I'm not. And I really, really struggle to get my water in. I'm not alone with that. I can drink, oh, shit, I used to drink 4+ liters of Coke every single day. No problem. Didn't even think about it. But trying to get in even a liter of water during that same period felt impossible, even if I wasn't drinking Coke. So I should have been thirsty, but no, I just wasn't drinking it. Well, ever since I got my kidney disease diagnosis in 2023, I need to be drinking 3 liters of water, just water, every single day. And I was struggling with it, even with the kidney disease diagnosis. Like, I know I got to get this stuff in, but it was so hard until I started adding flavor drops. But the big thing there was psychological. It was giving myself permission to do it. I had to meet myself where I was. And the reality is, by adding those drops, I'm drinking all the water that I need to every day. And I can't tell you how much better I feel, but that's a whole other, the difference has just been amazing with so many things. But one of the big ones is that by giving myself permission to use the flavor drops, not only am I getting in the water that I need, I have found that my cravings for sweet things have gone down. And I think that might be because I'm essentially drinking candy all day long. And it's different from pop because it isn't fizzy. It's just the water, right? Which if it has bubbles in it, I don't care about that either. I don't do carbonated water. But just adding the flavor drops, my craving for candy has really gone down. My craving for sweet things has really gone down, especially in the evenings, which is typically when my sweet cravings really hit hard. But by drinking the candy water all day, it's just helping to slow all of that down. And it's a win for me. I'm able to feel good about myself because I'm doing something I know I need to do. I'm getting my water in. I'm not feeling guilty about it anymore because the flavor drops, they're just flavor drops. Who gives a shit? Let yourself off the hook. It's more important to get the water in than it is to be able to, I guess, virtue signal and say, well, I just drink water. My water's plain. It's perfect water. It doesn't have anything added to it. Horse shit. Add the drops, do what you need to do to get the water in. It's way more important that you're drinking the water than it is that you're doing it in the quote unquote right way or following along with whatever everybody has dictated is the correct way to get in your water. Get it in however you can, because it's going to help not just with, that physical stuff that they talk about, like your skin and your hair and your nails and all of that stuff. It tangibly helps with weight loss a lot. It helps you control your appetite. A lot of the time we think we're hungry when actually our bodies are thirsty and they're signaling for water, but we interpret that as signaling for food because, well, why wouldn't you? I tend to interpret most things as signaling for food. I always have. So I probably wasn't the best at sussing out when my body was thirsty versus when it was hungry. I'm a lot better at it now, and you can get better at it too. So start increasing your water. It helps with the snacking. It helps with satiety. It helps with overall hunger management. And I know you've heard all this stuff before. I know everybody's always banging the water drum, but it really does work. And please, please, please let yourself off the hook. If you struggle to drink water, add the drops. Add, sometimes it's a powder, the drops, whatever. Add the flavoring to the water so you can get it in. That's a bigger win. And that's going to outweigh any of these imaginary downsides to not adding them and just drinking your water plain. All right. Last up today, we're going to end on, I don't know, we'll see how this one goes. I don't think it's controversial, but I've been told that maybe it is. Anyway, number 20. There's more than one way to get into a calorie deficit, but every single diet on the planet that helps you lose weight does it because you're in a deficit and not because of anything else that they're claiming. And I know there are some of you right now sitting there thinking of it's like keto. Oh no, keto works because of the high fat and the high no, 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 no. Keto works because it puts you in a deficit. The high fat and the high protein, the way that works is it helps to curb your hunger. So theoretically, you're going to eat less food because your body doesn't think you need as much food because you feel more satisfied. That's how that one works. You absolutely can gain weight on keto. It's pretty easy to do, especially when you're talking high fat recipes involving a lot of heavy cream, a lot of fats. It's pretty easy to gain. I can gain weight eating like that in a big hurry, but it's the appetite control, right? Paleo, Mediterranean, all of them, even the surgeries. The surgeries work because you're forced into a calorie deficit for an extended period of time because your body cannot physically hold the food. So no matter how you're choosing to get into a calorie deficit, whether it's cutting out carbs, whether it's going carnivore and, eating steak and butter, whether you're just drinking a shake for every meal or you're having food delivered to your house, it's not that there's something magical about the shake or the food or the supplement or the whatever. Whatever you're doing is working because you're in a deficit. That is literally the only way that it can work. But there are a lot of plans and diets and programs and products out there that it feels like they're trying to convince people that there's something else going on. And we absolutely need to cut through that because no, there's nothing else going on. It's not the magical powder in the pill. It's the fact that your body's in a calorie deficit. You are the one doing it. Please don't empower, those diet products. It's not them. It's not them. They don't get the credit here. You do. You did the work, no matter what you're doing. But it's super frustrating to have to try and combat this type of misinformation because it's just so ingrained in people. And we're all so afraid of calories and we're so afraid of talking about calories and calorie counting. And it's just, it's awful and everybody hates it. So we try to ascribe weight loss to other things. Unfortunately, it just doesn't work that way. All right, that feels like as good a place to stop as any. We're nicely rounded onto number 20. I'm going to be back next week. We're going to take on probably the next group of 20. We'll see how many I can get through then. Please don't forget to reach out with any questions that you have. I know I haven't done an Ask Whatever in a while. An Ask Whatever is coming, I promise. So send those questions in. I'll make sure they get on the list and I'll get to as many of them as I can. Plus, I'll answer you right away in real time because I don't like to leave people hanging. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you check out my website, disruptingobesity.com. I actually just redid it and I think it's looking pretty good. Let me know what you think. You know where all the stuff is over there. You can pick up all my free stuff and all the information about all my other stuff. Drop me a line and let me know how things are going. Keep trying, keep tracking. Don't be intimidated and don't give up. You've totally got this. Thank you for listening to Disrupting Obesity with Charlotte Skanes. If you know it's time to take back control, lose the weight, and keep it off, reach out to me privately with a direct message on Instagram that says ready so you can start disrupting obesity.